Are you wondering about your veteran burial benefits and how they fit into your final expense planning? By the end of this training, you will have the basic knowledge to act with confidence. Here's another question. Have you ever had to help plan a funeral? If you have, then you probably remember the pain, the confusion, financial stress, on what may have been one of the worst days in your and your family's life. You or some other family members were having to deal with the loss, finances, and complicated planning too. For many folks, it gets in the way of grieving. At worst, but common, are family tensions and squabbles. Thank you for your service to our country. We are veterans too. You are probably aware that some burial benefits are available to you, but you might not know all the details. Depending on your funeral choices, it can save you and your family some money and give you the honor that you deserve. In our agency, we know these three things, and if you do not know them, it could cost you money. Number one, it is much better to investigate ahead of time so your choices are known, and it helps to get pre approved by the National Cemetery Administration, which is part of the VA. Number two, the paperwork is not too burdensome, but the instructions can be complicated and overwhelming. And number three, Arlington National Cemetery is a completely separate and the benefits more comprehensive. If you think you may qualify for Arlington, we recommend that you begin at their website. We've prepared a simple 2-page instructional letter and the accompanying forms to help. And we can send it to you, or you can find the same things on our SSL secure website, www.goatplanning.com. Okay, so here we are on our website, and I'll show you how to navigate to find these resources. Up at the top, click Resources, and then click Important Veterans Burial Information. This page has everything you need. You scroll down, there's a little bit of information that we include in the letter that I mentioned, and then finally at the bottom are all the forms that you might need. And back up, there's another way to get there. On the home page, we've got a button with the Veterans Burial Benefits, and that takes you to the same spot at goatplanning.com, and then click back home. So you're welcome to download those information or contact us and we'll print it out for you and mail it to you. But here's a shorter version. You can get pre-approved for a plot or a final resting place in a national cemetery. This is for any veteran that has an honorable discharge. The application form is short, but it takes about 2 months to have it returned. You will submit a copy of your DD-214 or other discharge papers. After you are approved, then you can submit the same form for your spouse. The same form is used for both traditional burials and cremations. You're also eligible for a monument or a headstone. This is a separate form, and this can apply to a resting place in a national cemetery or in a private cemetery. You're also eligible for a burial flag. There's a separate form. You might be interested to know that a burial flag has a slightly different dimension than most flags. You can sum up these benefits as after the gate, meaning they are inside the cemetery benefits, but do not include other funeral or end of life benefits. All these benefits could save you money if you take action, plan, and make your desires known. You earn these benefits with your service, but the real benefit is to your family. VA does not pay for funeral items such as transportation of your remains, usually more than once, cremation, embalming, a service, a wake, a casket or urn, flowers, an organist, pastor, etc. So the VA can certainly save you and your family on the cost of a plot and a marker, and that makes a big difference. But the other final expenses are your burden. Besides sending the instructional letter and form package, we can also help you get something solid in place to cover all your final expenses. Only include costs related to your funeral. There are often medical expenses at the end of life that can take away that nest egg that you may have. You may have debts like a credit card or a mortgage. If you're married, your spouse will lose a major source of Social Security income. And finally, you may wish to leave a legacy gift for your family. Or maybe you have funeral expenses that are unique to you. You know these four things for certainty: when you will pass away, where you will pass away. There will be transportation costs, sometimes called repatriation costs. It's not if, it's when. What amount of death benefit would help cover your burial cremation, even with VA benefits? What is the financial situation of you and your family on the day you pass away, not today? Can you get approved for insurance? And what will it cost? And finally, if you have existing coverage, do you know the type? Will it expire? Is the price any good? Two things you should know with 100% certainty. Your family will be glad that you made arrangements. The other thing with certainty is a funeral director will say to them, I am sorry for your loss. How will you be paying? I can help with your questions and I can help with getting truthful and accurate answers. I can help most veterans get a solution. And if I can't, I'll tell you. My name is Jeff. I'm licensed in 28 states and a Better Business Bureau accredited. I served in the Navy for 6 years. I'm a life member of VFW, a member of the American Legion, and the U.S. Submarine Veterans Incorporated. I work nationally but live in Stanton, Virginia with my wife, two dogs, and a cat. My adult sons are based out of the country for now. I do this work because as a veteran insurance broker, I saw so much misinformation and bad practices given to veterans when it comes to VA burial benefits and life insurance. Trusted advisor with straight answers, regardless of the situation, was needed. 70% of families walk into a funeral home without enough money to cover a funeral and a burial. Both of my grandfathers died unexpectedly without adequate protection before the age of 53. In one case, it was a very bad situation for the family. In the other case, it was a disaster. Imagine you were looking down on your funeral. What is everyone thinking? Are they thinking how they got left with a problem, or will you be remembered well? When you served, you probably had SGLI, Servicemen's Group Life Insurance. Well, that is the best insurance deal going, but we all lost some benefits when we left the service. You may have converted to VGLI. There are a couple issues with VGLI, but if you have it, congratulations. It may still make sense. The issue with VGLI is that the premium goes up every 5 years. Most term insurance does. If you have VGLI, will you be able to afford it as you age? Finally, VGLI is not always the lowest cost. One issue I had in my first job after the Navy was that I had employer sponsored life insurance, and I was a young man without much experience to realize that I needed VGLI, so I didn't opt in. When I left my first company, so did my insurance. On the TV or in the mail, you may have seen life insurance with guaranteed acceptance. Guaranteed acceptance, or cannot be turned down, is a type of permanent whole life insurance designed for folks without an ideal health profile. And in return, it normally has a waiting period of 2, 3, and even 4 years before the full death benefit, and the cost is higher. It's legitimate insurance, but the price information is often disguised by some carriers. I have one myself from a more respected carrier, but I was later able to get a level or day one coverage policy. A level policy offers full benefits as soon as the policy goes into effect and almost always at a much lower cost. If your situation dictates, I can explain how a guaranteed acceptance, also called a graded policy from a respected carrier, is not a bad choice if it is your only option. A bad choice is just with certain carriers of whom you are probably aware. Joe Namath and the late Alex Trebek were never licensed insurance professionals. Earlier, I noted that I would cover getting a quotation online. Quotation software is a wonderful tool. You can go to my website, www.goatplanning.com, and get a quotation. The site is SSL secured and your information is never shared with anybody. Let's take a look. On the home page, you see we just went by a quick quotation, but here you can click Quick Life Insurance Quotations under Resources and scroll down. If you're looking for a final expense life insurance quotation online, you'd click that red button. And that's going to take you to this page here, which is just for final expense quotations. You fill in some information like your state. You're going to put in your date of birth and a little bit more information. However, by law, only a licensed insurance agent can give you a true, accurate quotation that can become an application. The online quotation normally assumes decent health and ignores some other factors. It's like getting a rough estimate without a recommendation, or medically diagnosing yourself on WebMD. If you're getting an online quotation, at the least, you are thinking about insurance, and I recommend that you also get a professional analysis to make the informed choice. So after you fill in all the information, you click the button to show some quotations from various companies, and they pop up here. You can see in this case, Mutual of Omaha for this scenario was the lower price. Price is certainly a big factor when choosing life insurance, but not always. You can click out of that. You may know the basic differences between whole life and term insurance, but I want to quickly cover just a little bit more detail because without knowing the basics, you will pay too much for the wrong product. Whole life insurance is also known as permanent insurance. The death benefit is forever fixed, it never goes down, and is the same for the remainder of your life. Likewise, the premium or monthly payment cost is always fixed and never goes up. Policy cannot be canceled for any reason except non-payment of premium, regardless of your future health or age. The death benefit proceeds are tax-free to the beneficiary and almost always not part of probate court proceedings. Proceeds for whole life policies designed for final expenses are normally paid out within a few days of confirmation of death. A good insurance agent can also assist your family in that process. Over time, whole life policies accumulate a cash value. Cancel the policy, you would get that cash value minus a fee. Often, you can borrow from the cash value and essentially pay yourself back. Therefore, over time, the policy can be used as an emergency fund. Many policies also have what are called living benefits, which allow access to the death benefit before you pass away. The two most common situations are for a terminal illness diagnosis or confinement in a nursing home. Because of the permanency of the benefit and premium, the cost is somewhat higher than term life. There are hundreds of variations of term life, but the most important difference with whole life is that the policy has a termination date. 10, 20, 38 years from the date issue are examples. Periodic rise in the premium or both. The premium price compared to whole life is less expensive in most circumstances. Premium prices are higher for longer terms, and renewals at any cost may not be guaranteed if your health declines or you have aged. Most employer-sponsored plans, including VGLI, are term life. Term life is most often used for a period designed to match a need, such as insurance during the time children are in the household or a mortgage is in place. Your need between term life and whole life or a combination is a good topic between you and a licensed broker. The certainty is that the cost for either type increases as you age. Today is the lowest cost for you. To help you, please schedule a day and time to meet by clicking the button below. I'm an independent broker who works with over 20 insurance companies such as Aetna, Mutual of Omaha, American Amicable, and SBLI. Each carrier looks upon each person differently depending on their age, location, goals, and health. My job is to find the best solution for you, and I work with 2 guaranteed acceptance companies if that necessity arises. Trusted, accurate information is powerful. Together, we will do an analysis to see if there is a good fit, and if not, I will send you my package of veteran burial benefit information as I do with any veteran who asks for it. Besides the obvious financial benefit, the most common feedback from my clients over the years is that the greatest benefit is peace of mind for them and peace of mind for their family. Logically, if you don't have peace of mind now, we should speak. There is a cost to waiting. Don't wait until it's too late. I generally have at least one open slot in the next 3 days. Then the decision will be, are you going to protect your family or are you going to not protect your family? Or maybe the better question is, what has prevented you from doing it sooner? Please schedule a time and I'm happy to help. Thank you. And thank you for serving our country.